All right, so I've thrown the frame jig back in here, and I put the old rear floor section on it. After watching Juby, the Jedi Panel Master on Amazing Sheet Metal, he brought up so many amazing points and things that I was gonna ultimately run into and now have an opportunity to head off. One of the things was, showed a nice setup for attaching the, picking up the points for the rear bumper in reference to everything else. And also I had to convert this over a little bit to, I had it set up for alignment pins, but now I want to bolt a floor to it. So that takes a little different strategy in some places. Like one of the things Juby Mays was going on about was about the that rear bracket right there, putting a slot in it just in case you got to roll that frame rail up a little bit to get everything to line right. Just knowledge like that is priceless. So if you haven't had a chance to check out his channel, if you're doing anything with new panels, yeah, go check him out. He's amazing. No pun intended. Yeah, so we're converting a lot of this over right now. I'm just building some outriggers off the back posts, and I'll just drill and tap those into the post so that they'll be located properly. What else? That's about it, really. We mostly just spent the rest of the time finishing to strip what remained of the non-usable parts off that other chassis. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build some bracketry to go up and pick up these shaker mounts. I don't see any good information on how to locate those in reference to the frame rail. So the cocktail shakers bolt down through this heavy plate right here, and there's two threaded holes here and here, and they look like they're turned down a little bit to me. I don't know if that's normal. I've got to research that a little bit, but right now I'm just going to pick those points up in space, and we'll see if they roll up or down on the new frame rails when I pull them off here. But those pieces I'm going to try to save because there's only one place I found that has them, and they're ridiculously priced. So it isn't like an affordable option to just replace it. So I'm going to pull those two off, and again, you can see the two threaded bolt holes here for the cocktail shakers, which I'm not even sure I need with a full frame, but we will have the provisions to put them in regardless. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Again, I changed this bracket down here so that it has a slot in it, and per Juby's recommendation, I spent pretty much my whole vacation in the Caribbean cramming on all Juby's videos. It was awesome. He's an amazing guy. So yeah, that's kind of the phase we're in, is getting ready, prepping for new panels. A lot of the panels have turned up, so we'll get after it, and I'll bring you back when I have a little bit more. And here you can see I've added a couple more braces to pick up those two mounting holes in the cocktail shaker. I can mount right up through that and then make sure I'm located at least in the right alignment. I'm not sure about elevation yet, but I figured I could always shim it up, flatten it out if I needed to. So yeah, I just drilled and tapped one hole on that angle iron right into the post, and that'll keep it indicated and trued right up to a couple of surfaces. And yeah, that's basically ready to go. I think I can lift this floor back off here now. That's about it. All right, so I took the nuts that were welded to these two pads here that are the rear of the front subframe mounts, and took those out, so now I can just run the 5/8 bolt right up into the floor. Then I altered the front to bolt up the firewall, and that's all set. I just threw it on there and lined it up with a laser. Got that ready, and then step back a little further here. It took a few minutes and just mounted up a collar underneath the rotisserie and used that on the spline of the body jig. So it's all on the rotisserie, ready to start building up the floor. Currently I have it all locked in, perfectly level, everything's flat, straight, checked all my points again. So it should be good, a good starting point. Now I'll start, next step is to start working the frame rails and start building up the floor system. So this will take some time, but I think it'll be, based on the information that I've gleaned from a lot of sites online, including the amazing sheet metal, should be pretty rich, ready to go. I did find some bushings that would fit in the rear frame rails on McMaster, so I didn't have to make anything. And then my buddy Todd, I had to turn them down just a little bit, but they turned them down and they're all set to go, so I can mount everything up, start going through the steps as outlined by Juby, and it should be a fairly straightforward process. I'm sure it won't be, but we'll try it. Yeah, so that's it. Jig is ready, modified, on the rotisserie. Everything's there to start working up the floor. So that will be next. I did get that roll center up as high as I possibly could, just because with only the jig on there, it's still pretty low and a little hard to roll the rotisserie at that height. But it's close. Do what I can. Then I can start, once, the floor is on there, a little more weight starts to come into it. It will just become a little easier and easier. And then once the body's back on it, everything will be fine. So, yeah, that's it.